about British royalty, let's talk about Sir Lewis Hamilton.
Oh yes, he is
What
knighted,
about
isn't
him?
he? Yeah.
Yeah, he's been knighted now.
Well,
Lewis
there's
Hamilton.
Hamilton. Yeah, well, I mean, there's been this whole thing about him renewing his contract with Mercedes, and what he's really been arguing about.
Yeah.
I mean, the speculation has been about his salary, which is sitting the last time we checked at $50 million US.
Well, that's not much though.
Yeah, not much.
But I mean,
no,
if he's negotiating a new contract, how does he know what? Should I go in with 48 or 50, 60?
Well, I mean, he was
he's got so
currently
much
on
money.
50,
What
so we
difference
can
does it
only
make?
assume that he's asked for more.
So just for some perspective, like I think Messi's contract is worth 674 mil. Cristiano Ronaldo's contract is about 400 mil. So like 50 mil is not bad. It's
Yeah, it's
reasonable,
like-
you know.
Yeah. It's like cheap.
Yeah, but that's that. Hang on, Lewis Hamilton. That's for one season, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas the others, that's for like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, that's for 3 years.
Yeah.
It still
Okay.
it still trumps it, you know, like by a big margin.
Mm.
And that's
I've always
just
said-
their
yeah. I
and
mean,
that's just their contracts. It doesn't include all the sponsorships and
Yeah.
endorsements.
yeah.
and-
Let's. I mean, that comes. You can't really bring that into it because you're only going to make that money if you're already a superstar sports person and
Yeah.
with a good agent.
Mm.
The agent does come into play here. Yeah, so the royalties, they're always going to beef up their total income. But I want to know what their income is for their sport, for their job. That's more pertinent because there's a lot of sports people that devote their lives to the sport and don't get anywhere. Most of them don't get any richer. They just probably earn enough to keep them going through their sporting career. And then you get the exceptions of the household names. And so for me, it was always, golf in the past that the top golfers got paid a fortune, and maybe that's right. It's tough. Getting into the golf scene is tough, and you have to play consistently well. So you have to be a natural, best in the world.
But I mean, they're working on prize money, right? I mean, they're not getting paid a salary by a company for
No,
playing.
I mean, if there's a tournament, you would the prize money would in a major tournament,
yes,
or a PGA tournament, the prize money does go all the way down to like 50 or something.
sure.
But
Sure,
you
but
can
what I'm
go
saying
and
is,
play and not get anything.
yeah, but your performance dictates what you are earning, right? Your performance against other people and yourself is determining the money that you're earning.
Yeah.
Okay, so now bring this into, that's for individuals, the example, right? Individual, if they are rubbish, then they will lose money. Now, what if you're part of a team? So the footballers, yes, they have the skills, but you're not going to find a fullback who is going to earn as much as a striker.
Fair enough.
Because the striker is the one that makes the difference.
Sure.
And they have to have a certain skill to make it to those top teams.
Yeah.
And again, consistently perform. All right, now, would you say Lewis Hamilton is part of a team or is an individual?
Well, he's supposed to be part of a team, right?
Yeah, that's my view. Yes, he is a skilled driver.
But
there's
he's
no
the
doubt.
striker, and this is the point that I was going to get to, is that right? You're getting paid because, like, you use the golfing analogy, which I think is great because this would be able to explain my thought process a little bit better. Is that there you are getting paid for your performance. So let's assume that there's also this sort of performance thing that comes into Lewis Hamilton's salary for the year, right? So he's a good driver. He's doing very well relative to his teammates, and he's winning all the races and all that. And then that comes down to the car, right? But right, so that's his negotiation, right? His leverage is that, hey, listen, I'm doing so well, and yes, you're giving me a good package, but I can still drive it so well. Then he wants to put in his contract that he then can veto who his teammate is. Right? So now for me, that's starting to get into the territory, because if Mercedes says, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take George Russell and we're going to make him your teammate. Hamilton already knows he's screwed because we've seen it. George Russell climbed into Lewis
Everybody
Hamilton's car
knows.
and whipped everyone's butt. And including what I would imagine Lewis's butt in his own car. So I don't know. There's my controversy.
I mean, I get that.
Theory.
Look, Hamilton probably hasn't got many years left, and if he doesn't want to ever work again, obviously he's going to push for as much money as possible.
Yeah.
And he will go with the price because he knows that he's currently the best driver as far as records go and consistency over the years, but he's always been in a great car, right, except for the latter years in McLaren perhaps, but he knew what he was doing. He always seemed to jump to the right team at the right time because he already had the insight, or was told the insight, that the technologies that are emerging in other teams were probably going to be favorable in that coming year or whatever it is. So he will only charge what other people are willing to pay. If you are Mercedes, where perhaps the other teams, from a technology perspective, are catching up, you want to hang on to every little piece of success you can in any which way. So you hang on to your chief designer, chief engineer, your best driver. You will pay for that and make that ride last as long as possible so you can win the championships, which brings the money. It's an expensive business to get wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, look, I mean, I've just, in my view, I would like Hamilton to call it a day, just so that we can see new blood come. And because
I think he's achieved all he can do. I mean, if I look back to Schumacher days, when it was like, oh, who won? Schumacher. Oh, who won the championship this year? Schumacher. Okay, I'm going to stop watching now. It's boring. It's the same stuff every week.
Yes.
There was more accidents in those days, which was a bit more epic. But are we not in that same era? For the good of the sport, maybe we handicap him. I mean, that's what they do in horse racing, right? They put more weight on your horse if it's a good horse who has too much success and is winning easily. They do a handicap system to even out the playing field.
Well, I mean, that's what they tried to do. They were suggesting that they do reverse grid, right? So in other words, he would start at the back. Kind of thing.
Well, why don't they just? I mean, it's. Why don't they? And this will be because it's not. We don't want to just test the driver. It's a test of the whole thing. The pit crew. The upgrades that they have to engineer, which they can't test before a race that easily. All of these things go into the success of the race team on a weekend. So why not just go and put? I don't know. Say I don't know.
Extra kilo, a couple of kilos.
Narrower tires. So you have less grip. Ball tires. More weight on the wing at the back. Who knows? Put something on that's going to disadvantage them. Change the airflow or
But how
whatever.
Do you work out what the handicap should be, or how do you quantify that?
Okay, so
how much lead do I put in his?
I used in my days when I was studying with this guy who worked for Red Bull. He'd been in Formula One as an engineer, a design engineer. He'd been with 3 racing teams. Red Bull was his third.
Okay.
And I've got lots of stories on that front. But it was, they come up with some grand stuff. So I have no doubt that the engineering minds within the Formula One or any motor racing sport could probably come up with a useful way of having a handicap system without, making it dangerous.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm sure. I wouldn't put it past them.